Welcome everybody back to Tech Talks. I'm Victor Matthews here with Julie, and today was the Microsoft Surface event. And you might know that I have the original Surface over there.
That's right. Well, I would know that. You guys, not so much, maybe.
Yeah, you guys don't know that, but I do have the original Surface. I really liked it when it first came out.
And that's a tablet that has a keyboard that attaches to it?
Yes, it's a tablet. It was, at the time, pretty unique because it was a tablet that had the full version of Windows on there.
Oh, and that wasn't something that was common then? Usually
it was like Android on there or some sort of half-baked operating system that wasn't like a full like Windows experience where you could install apps and things like that from anywhere. It was all limited, like your phone is limited to like the App Store and same thing like that. So it was unique to have the power of Windows in tablet form. Unfortunately, it came with Windows 8, which was Terabad, and there was two versions of the Surface. There was a Surface Pro and then the regular Surface, and that got very confusing for people too, because one of them had Windows that was very locked down, and the other one had a regular Windows 8. And so people didn't understand the differences between them. But Surface as a brand has evolved to now encompass laptop. There's the Surface laptop. There's the Surface tablet, or what they call it, the 3-in-1. And they have Surface headphones, and they're even now announcing new products. So it's as a brand, Microsoft has been working on this, and this is Microsoft's brand. It's not like some third party.
The Surface brand specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, and so today's topic is
the Surface event that they just announced all of the Surface products coming out later this year, and some that they're planning for next year.
Okay, all makes it sound like there's a lot.
I mean, there's a few things, yeah.
Okay, let's jump right in.
Okay, so we start off with the Surface Laptop 3. And the Surface Laptop 3, if I put here.
Ooh, 20% larger trackpad. That's the mouse part, right?
Yeah.
I'm like peeking at your nose.
Yes, so it has a 20% larger trackpad than previously. They talked about the repairability of it. They made it pretty easy to just like pop up the keyboard section of it to get to the innards.
And this is it that we're showing right now?
Yeah, this is it that we're showing right now.
All right, and what else?
It'll have USB-A, USB Type-C. They are having two different versions, a 15-inch and a 13-inch. They were very focused on design and the aesthetic of it during the presentation. And the 13-inch laptop will have the 10th generation Intel core processor, either an i3, i5, or i7, or whichever you choose to go for. And that one starts at $999, coming out in October. The 15-inch, actually, they made a custom processor for with the AMD.
What's AMD?
AMD is a manufacturer like Intel.
Oh, okay.
But they're pretty much Intel's biggest competitor.
And that's those two?
So those are those two.
The 13 and the 15 inch.
The 13 and 15
Those come out October 22nd, and the price difference was $1,000 versus $1,200?
Yes.
All right.
They also will have fast charging. They claim that 80% battery life within an hour of charging. And that's also coming to all their products that they're
80% in less than an hour. I like that. Really nice how fast charging is becoming.
Yeah.
And it is wired charging, USB-C?
I believe these are actually, I believe the laptops might actually be the magnetic plug. that they've been using.
All right, fair enough. What's next?
Surface Pro 7.
All right.
Okay, open.
Same day that one comes out, it looks like.
Yep,
3
coming out the
weeks.
same day. And they were talking about how... Oh, they were just talking about mostly it's a incremental upgrade that, like, they're adding more USB-C ports, they're adding more pen and stylus features. It's, you know, just a regular upgrade. Oops, that's a laptop 3. Might have had that wrong. That video might have been wrong.
Oh, it was showing.
Yeah.
So here we go. The Surface Pro 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the US. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're gonna, and that also is going to be having a unique Intel CPU. And but what they did talk about actually was pretty interesting. They were going over the pen features and the Edge, the Microsoft Edge browser. And so I thought this was kind of interesting, like how they are integrating the software with the hardware. Very much a phrase that Google has been saying is integrating software with hardware to make everything a lot simpler.
I'm not sure I understand what they mean by that, though.
So, and that's why we're going over this video to as an example of, she's talking about how she does a lot of hiking, and so she does a lot of looking up trails and, you know, planning and things like that.
Hike.
Yeah. And so as she's going through, she can take pieces of it and just pull it off to the side and then create a document based off of the information that she just sourced from the web.
So when you say pull it off to the side, it's like you're dumping all that information into a side tray?
Yeah, you'll see here in a sec. As
along the right?
Yeah, on the right you'll see that they have...
Oh, where it says hikes in New York.
Yeah.
So this works for all websites, or does it have to have
This is the Edge browser. So as long as you're using the Edge browser,
and Edge is Microsoft's browser.
Yeah. So instead of using Chrome. So these are features that I'm sure Chrome has extensions for, but these are like built into the Edge browser. And as she goes on,
if you don't have the Surface Pen, can you not use a stylus?
The Surface Pen is
more fine point.
Yeah, more fine point. It's an electric pen. It's not, or yeah, it is electric.
I'm assuming you could buy replacements of that.
Yeah, you can buy replacements. You can use a regular stylus, but it will work. It won't have the features that the pen has.
The fine point.
Yeah. So she brought over all of her data into a Word document. So that, and it has all the references to where she got the data from. As well, and so she was able to bring it in, and then now she's talking about how she was able to delete using the pen. Yeah,
that's nice.
And like you can write in.
And you can circle things.
You can circle things. You can write in.
That's nice.
To change things.
I think I would actually really like that. I've never had a Surface myself.
And then they also were talking about how yeah, they have text-to-speech in there. which we were talking about earlier this week or last week, was text to speak and things like Word and everything. And then they are also saying that now in Excel, they have the pen feature available so that you can literally just write straight into the columns. Here they're demonstrating that with Samsung, you can actually make phone calls and answer phone calls from your device too, because they're Windows has this Connect Your Phone app, and they're trying to incorporate more and more phones with being able to do it. Right now, most phones can get messages, notifications sent to the computer, so you can get your notification straight to your phone, including your messages. I think you can even reply messages, but the phone calls function is limited to Samsung right now. Yeah, and then here they're talking about pen to Excel, which was actually pretty cool, where you can just literally write in the cells what you want to put in. And it transcribes it.
So this is kind of a side note.
Yeah.
But in my field, because we look at children's handwriting and assessing handwriting is a kind of subjective, difficult thing. We have like the evaluation tool of children's handwriting. There's like the test of handwriting skills. There's the print tool. There are tools that look at the child's handwriting and try to come up with these objective things. But it's really hard because their examples far from cover what you really see. And so I think it's really interesting that they are more and more turning handwriting into typed, because I'm sure that in the future there will be handwriting assessments where the child is, if they're able to write on a surface and then have a computer analyze, or just write on, ideally it would be writing on regular paper, because there is different, count like the friction and the sensory components of it. It's much different to write with a pencil and paper versus other mediums. But I'm sure that you could take a picture of that pencil and paper and then have computers interpret the handwriting to determine its legibility and like the components that way. That's something that I'm interested in.
That would be a good even app that somebody could figure out. Machine learning.
But it like gives you out the data about like, oh, this is this many case errors and the spacing was terrible here. We couldn't even decipher what this said. All these letters overlapped. There's way too much spacing here. The spacing is perfectly consistent, like so forth. It could give much better analysis. And I'm really, quite frankly, looking forward to that day, because I hate doing handwriting analysis scoring.
Back to the Surface. So the Surface Pro 7 is going to be coming out also on October 22nd at $749. All of these are for pre-order right now. Then they announced the Surface Earbuds, which were pretty interesting, because this is the closest thing that I found to a competitor for the Apple AirPods. And the biggest difference is between like a lot of these wireless headphones that you're hearing that are trying to compete with Apple AirPods is the fact that this is, they mentioned that these are like one-click connect to your device.
One click, like you click them, tap them.
They didn't give a good example, so I'm not exactly sure. But they put it in their little description. And so I don't know the full details as to how it works. I would be very interested to seeing. But yeah, they are mentioning one click to connect, which is a lot better than those, like that Bluetooth searching system that you always have to do with your headphones. And especially if you're constantly pairing different headphones all the time. Like if you have a set of running headphones and a set of listening headphones. Or like we constantly switch headphones, or we have like a speaker that we connect to. There's different things that make the one-click pairing a lot easier. So this is the earbuds that when they announced those.
Oh, and so they went with their own style too, that it's just a dot on the outside, a circle.
Yeah.
Instead of that dangling line downward.
Yeah, they.
Interesting. Yeah, this, from a fashion perspective, it makes me think of gauges when people stretch their earlobes.
I'm not sure how I feel about the design. It kind of looks dumb to me. The design itself, like when it's in the ear, it looks kind of huge.
So it looks like when they tap, that there's signaling with how much they tap it, though. That's that could be really useful.
Yeah, there's they're integrating it with PowerPoint, and they're integrating a translator in there.
Is it one size fits all, or is it like that little like silicone part you can change out to make bigger or smaller?
So the way the lady described it that was announcing it was that it rests on like 2 different points on the ear. So I think like we have those headphones that from, I think it was the Pixel headphones, that has that other point that kind of you can adjust to fit inside the back of the ear as well as the front.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they said, that it fits at 2 points in the ear to create long-term comfort. So I don't know if they have different molds of the silicone thing that you can put in your ear, or how it is, because again, like there wasn't a lot of detail, and but it looked like the gesture navigation, they were very much saying like you can pretty much run your phone from your ears by just touching
and speaking,
and without having to grab
it
out
has
your
a
phone.
mic.
It has a mic. It has dual mics actually.
Oh, both pieces have mics.
Each piece has 2 mics.
Oh,
one, and it's for noise reduction, one of the mics.
That makes sense.
They're boasting 24-hour battery. The touch sensor, their office navigation, which the biggest thing that they announced was that when you are doing like a PowerPoint, you could use the earphones to auto transcribe what you're saying to auto caption. So when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, it will automatically have captions of what you're saying. You don't understand it, or
I'm sorry, my mind wandered, so I was just nodding for that one. So it has the text for what?
For when you're like if you're making a PowerPoint presentation, it will automatically transcribe it and create a caption.
Oh, closed captioning for the audio. You mean they will type the words at the bottom for you automatically on a PowerPoint?
Yeah, if you're making like a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Same thing. Google also started doing auto captioning with their videos.
You can correct it though, right? Because there are times that it's funny what it thinks you say, and sometimes it's just frustrating.
Just like on the fly. So it like when you.
Oh, you mean like a live presentation, a live PowerPoint? It's not that you can beforehand like.
No, it's like like live as you're speaking.
So I guess. The best practice would just be make sure you're over articulating.
They also said that it's also going to have auto translate, so the caption can actually just be a different translation of what you're speaking too.
It's a nice feature.
And I'm kind of curious to see what else that extends to, if it's just PowerPoint or if it could be extended to other things like Pixel or the Google headphones. They had that whole thing where they worked it with the Pixel so that you could talk to the headphones and then it would speak out in whatever language that you wanted to translate to, and vice versa. So it would be pretty cool to see how far that goes out to. Then they announced the Surface Pro X, which is going to be released in early November, is what they said, for $999. Oh, and the Surface earbuds are $249, coming out later this year.
So the Surface Pro X is the same size and price as the very first one we talked about. What was that?
So first Surface Pro
laptop.
Yeah, the Surface laptop is 13-inch. This is going to be a Surface Pro that's 13 inches.
Okay, so it's a Surface Pro versus a laptop. And the laptop is not, or is the laptop like what you have with the keyboard?
No, that is a Surface tablet, like the Surface Pro.
So this is the Surface Pro X type of thing.
Yeah, this is a and essentially it's.
So what makes the Surface Pro laptop a Surface? Is it because it has the pen you can write with?
The Surface Pro laptop makes it it's a laptop because the form factor has a keyboard and mouse or keyboard. When we scroll here.
No, wait, the Surface part?
No, the Surface is just the brand.
So okay, I guess that's where I was confused. I thought Surface meant it was like this hybrid of mostly tablet but kind of a laptop.
So the Surface laptop is a full-on laptop.
Oh.
And they even compared it to they compared like the processing power of the Surface laptop 13-inch quad-core Intel as being 3 times more powerful than the Mac Air, which I thought was actually kind of interesting because this is the full-form laptop. I would want to see it compared to the MacBook Pro laptop, not the Mac Air, because the Mac Air is more of a on the fly kind of web browsing thing. It doesn't have the power of like a full.
What's the Apple I have?
You have, I think, an MacBook Air.
Seems like a full laptop to
It
me.
is a full laptop. It has the full Mac operating system, but the power it doesn't have the power of a full Mac operating system.
Okay, so but their Surface, you make a good point, but I'm curious. So their Surface laptop, is it supposed to be very lightweight for on the go then?
It is very lightweight.
Comparing it to the
they like it is very lightweight, very like the form factor is small, but the power, when you're talking power, if you're gonna say something's 3 times more powerful than something, they're saying this thing is 3 times more powerful than Mac's least powerful laptop.
Yeah, that's not a great comparison.
Yeah.
Made. Anyways, what else do we have? So we've talked about the Surface laptops. We've talked about the Surface Pro 7. We talked about headphones, earbuds.
So we're on the Surface Pro 10.
Okay, sorry, that's where you were. Surface Pro 10. Okay, and that one's not until November that it gets released. Okay.
Yeah. So the Surface Pro 10, they talked about it has a removable solid-state drive, which is interesting if you want to upgrade it. This has 2 USB-Cs. And then they also talked about how Microsoft actually worked with Qualcomm to make a mobile processor instead of your traditional architecture processor that most computers have. They're using the architecture system that phones use.
What's the advantage of that?
Well, that between a phone and a regular computer, like I actually don't know how the chipset's different. I just know that they are architecturally different.
Okay.
But what the advantage that Microsoft is doing working with Qualcomm is very similar to how Apple is working with a manufacturer to build their own chipsets. We talked about the Bionic chipset that Apple built for their laptops last time we had the Apple discussion when they had their conference.
Smile like I remember.
Okay.
We know my memory, especially for this kind of stuff.
So yeah, Apple builds their own processors.
Okay.
And now Windows is building its own processor, which means that they can build it to make it more efficient. They're also
not relying on someone else's innovating. Yeah. And
they're also working to add an AI accelerator, very much like Apple added an AI accelerator in their iPhone 11.
So an AI accelerator makes things faster because it's got artificial intelligence that's kind of
it's
looking at the pieces and then making decisions to prioritize and whatnot.
It's able to direct the flow. And they said that usually a phone chipset only has about 12 watts of power running through it. So they had to design this to run 7 watts of power. Not like that's one of the disadvantages, I guess, for the normal architecture system for the mobile phones, is that they're designed for less power usage. Well, so if you want to put those in a big computer, you would need to design it to have more power to it. And so that's what they did. And they also redesigned the graphics processor part of the chipset. And what they said, that all of it combined to having a better battery. It's faster, it's lighter, and thinner. And it's still a full Windows 10 on the laptop. They also this also comes with a pen holder built in, and that also recharges the pen within the holder.
Oh, because you said it's electric, so the pen is not just like a stylus. It has like an actual.
It has, I believe, the main thing is it has an electromagnet. To make it more accurate.
You know, I am kind of interested in the having a Surface that has a pen. That's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I remember I used to have the Surface Pen for that. I lost it years ago though.
And have you looked into buying a new one?
I have. I mean, I'm sure that I could get one of the newer ones and it'll work just fine on that. I don't know how it charges though. So
what's up, Adobe?
Yeah, so Adobe actually came in to kind of demo the power behind these the features that the power behind the 10 Pro.
Oh, you mean they're just like a third party that uses it, so they're showing with their complex apps how well it works?
Yeah, so Adobe makes the suite of products known as the Premiere Pro, which is a video editor. They have a Photoshop, very powerful tools that is utilized on Windows.
Look at that.
And so they're talking about this new drawing app that they're designing specifically with the mind of this Surface. And they're talking about this Fresco app for mobile painting app. And they were saying that it recreates behavior of paints and pencils and
she said it was pressure sensitive, I heard.
Yep, it's pressure sensitive, it's tilt sensitive. So she'll demonstrate here.
Wow, her grasp when she's coloring is interesting. Oh, maybe it was because she was scribbling. Oh, and she can select to erase only pink, it looks like.
Well, yeah, that's the layer tool. She's on a different layer than everything.
That's pretty. Oh, maybe she's got. I didn't notice her grasp until she started with the colors. Oh, that's a thumb wrap grasp if I ever saw one.
She's talking about on the side, the light pressure. Now she can use it kind of like as if you were using a pencil on the side. And then the last bit is when she starts using the watercolor.
Watercolor?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Ooh, blue.
Oil color is what she's saying, actually.
Okay.
But I'm sure watercolor is a feature too. But it ends up mixing. So it was interesting, like the recreate the behaviors, and it seemed to be running pretty well on. And then the last few things that they talked about were actually not coming until next year, 2020. But they wanted to show these products off, and I mean, I'll just show you
a quick sneak, kind of.
Yeah, essentially, like to get an idea of what they're planning.
The 2 screens?
Exactly. 2 screens, like a handheld Surface, where for multitasking or even using the same task. Also has a pen, so that you can use it as like a foldable notebook. Your Pinterest on 2 screens.
And a fold-out keyboard.
And
the keyboard comes to
it's a
cover.
magnetic, keyboard that you can attach and you can use it. And what it does is it turns the bottom half into like secondary screens, or you could use it as like a full-on laptop with a touchpad.
What is this thing called?
This is called the Surface Neo. Yeah, the Surface Neo. You can also have the
Neo, like the Matrix?
I guess so.
Oh, I like it though. I would like one. Oh, it's that small. Oh, it's almost like a foldable phone. Wow. And I mean, the screen's not continuous. It is 2 screens.
It is 2 screens.
But look how thin. It's thinner, I swear, than the foldable phones.
Oh yeah, because the right now Samsung is building the all-in-one screen. While here they decided, screw the one screen, we'll just do 2 screens,
right.
And be able to do more with it. So it's a 360 foldable hinge.
Right, and I feel like down the road they'll be able to come up with some kind of like small strip of flexible that they'll be able to put over that to make it look like one continuous screen, and then like that just little strip of flexible pixels.
And then
I feel like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Then they announced their another thing for next year,
and that is oh, that looks like a foldable phone to me. Is that exactly what it is?
Yeah. It is the Surface Duo. This is an Android-based Surface. And from what it looks like, it actually looks pretty close to pure Android. But with some probably alterations to make it work more better with the dual screen, which Android has already been doing anyways with Samsung. So Windows and Microsoft and Google are working together.
That's nice. So can you have, it looks like with the hinge that they have, you can have it closed with both screens out.
Mm-hmm.
Is it durable such that you could put it in your pocket and use it that way, or do they recommend storing? Well, I mean, this is just a, I guess, preliminary. I am asking too many questions.
Yeah. Well, I particularly like the e-reader part. Like, it makes it feel more like a book, right, that you're reading.
Sure.
So yes, you could fold it in half. With the screens out.
My thing with that is, like if you're in a meeting, right?
Yeah.
And your phone starts to ring. Like, granted, sure, there's the button on the side you can just real quick push down on, but sometimes too, it's nice to be able to just real quick glance and be like, oh, that's not important.
Yeah.
But if there's no screen on either outside panel, you cannot do that. You'd have to have like a watch to pair with it, or literally open it up.
So
not so discreet.
Yeah. So the like that, if you have it in a meeting, like, yeah, you would be able to just have it open with the both screens facing out toward, yeah. But I would not recommend traveling like that. You'd want the screens folded inwards while you're traveling.
That's true.
But if it's just laying on your desk, then yeah, there's probably no reason not to have the screens open. What?
When you turn it sideways, the profile of
goodness.
your hair is so... Sorry.
But yeah, that was the thing. The biggest thing that they were talking about was like the flow of using apps and being like having it be useful at the time that you need. And that's why that's why they are pushing for the dual screen, so that when you're doing one thing and then you need to switch to something real fast to go, like, to, let's say, like you were talking to somebody about some specific thing, and then instead of like breaking the flow of the conversation to like close out the phone app, go to what you're looking for, figuring it out, you just have a second screen for it. And the guy was actually that was presenting most of the conference, he was definitely like a visionary kind of person, but he was it also felt very prestigious. It seemed like very much. He opened up with how his daughter like playing piano, and he was like, everything has to be right with the piano, you know, the stool has to be the right height, the things have to be right, it has to be tuned correctly in order for her to be able to get to her flow. And then he translate that to the products, right? Like everything on the surface has to be right so that you can get into your flow during work.
But what's funny is during their commercial, she set that on a table, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's gonna have back problems when she gets older because it was way low for her. Their own ad. Sorry, go on.
But that was the Windows Surface conference, and I thought it like, I am excited actually more for next year, a 2020 lineup of the Surface stuff. But the cool updates for the Surface Pro, and maybe one day.
I'm very, very interested in the pen features. The headphones, I don't know. As long as it sounds good, I don't really care about the fashion. Functional is good, but I also, the cost, I'm happy with what I've got for headphones. My Skull Candies work just fine. I've got one pair of Acer or something for over the ears, and those also work well.
Yeah.
But the phone one, that's pretty intriguing, and I'm interested to see how that comes out. Yeah,
especially like being pure Android. It's like they gave up on the operating system side of it, right? Because Windows used to have their own phones, and they just gave up on that. They're like, Android's got that market, but we can work with them to get something out there, to get a device that we would find productive. That's the Microsoft team. And I like it. Like, it is essentially with the Neo being like essentially just like a mini laptop, and then the Duo being literally just a phone with two screens that seems to be more agile and have more opportunities going to it than the Samsung version. The Samsung is more of like right now a gimmick. Maybe it will be the future, maybe not.
They were pioneers.
But yeah,
they're working. They try, and it's good to have someone be a pioneer.
This seems more functional
others.
that you will be using this in your daily life if you.
That's what they make it look like.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the case. I think the 2 screens at this point seems more where we're at with the technology. Not to say that in the future it can't look like one screen folding.
I think
they're pretty close on that. I mean, really, even if it's 2 screens, but they can make the joining more and more fine. That would.
There was a concept for and this is going beyond the conference now, so we can go in more in detail into it in the future. But there's a design for a new phone that is a folded screen, but instead of it being like a fold open, it is literally just the entire screen, or the entire phone is the screen. So you have your phone
front
like this, yeah, and then the screen just wraps around the back too.
And where is that, or what?
I can't remember. I'd have to look up the who has the concept idea, but I was like, that is the perfect use for the folding screen. Is you just have one screen phone, or like one phone screen that's on the front and back.
Well, that's what I thought that this one they advertised did.
Well, I mean, this one is 2 screens and it folds in half. This is the concept is not a folding phone. It is just a phone like this.
Yes, but that's less functional because you can't use both sides simultaneously. You'd constantly be having to flip.
No, you're not.
Even set it down and use.
You're not supposed to be using it simultaneously like a fold-out screen. Like
But you do. That's the point of it, is to quick switch stuff between.
In the Surface world, yes, that's the point of it. But
for this other person,
the bendable screen concept that Samsung's trying to do to make a folding phone, I don't think is going to work for a folding phone. But the bendable screen concept, I think, will work for a singular device like wrapping.
Yeah.
Is what I was saying. And also now they have transparent TV, which are also cool. So we'll get back into that probably next week. But this week, that was all on the Microsoft conference.
All right. Yes. Next time.
See you next time. Have a great one.